Hello, all you writers out there. We are here today to talk about how to make your readers laugh and cry while they're reading your book. That means eliciting powerful emotions with your writing. So, I'm Elizabeth Ann Atkins of Two Sisters Writing and Publishing, and we go live every Friday with Joanie Lindenmeyer, best-selling author, superstar author of Nun Better, an amazing love story. And then she and I wrote two books together called Joyously Free and Healing Religious Hurts. Welcome, Joni, and happy Friday.
Oh, thank you, Elizabeth. I always love Fridays. It's Podcast Friday, and you're looking sparkling in your top there. How fun!
Woo!
Woohoo! Woohoo!
Yes, red sparkles for Friday and red
Yes,
lipstick to match.
nice. I love it. I love
Yes,
it.
and I was just talking about how I'm launching my speaking career by working with a writing coach who I'm meeting with
Yes.
today to get my TED Talk and be a speaker like at different companies and corporations and conferences. And while I was talking about it, a hummingbird came to my window. And hummingbirds, for all you writers out there, are messengers from spirit. It's an affirmation, whatever you're thinking or talking about while the bird shows up. And they fly really fast. And it's a hummingbird. They have the beak and yes. It was magical. So
Nice.
so, writers, watch for those signs from spirit, the universe that affirm what you're doing, because that was not a coincidence that the hummingbird came right when I said I'm elevating my speaking career.
Yay. And I'm so happy to hear that for you because you are so articulate. You are funny. You're good looking. You have a pizzazz of connecting with people. So this is going to be incredible. Incredible. Oh boy,
Thanks,
I'm going to have
Joni.
to get another billboard sign to be dancing on the street. Elizabeth, the speaker, not just the writer. Here we go.
Hilarious. I love it. I love it. I'm so grateful.
Congratulations.
Thanks, Joni. Thank you.
Yeah.
So many different things. Like you've come to my meditation group on Wednesday evenings, and all you women are invited to come to the Goddess Power meditation because guess what? Joni has her prayer corner, which enhances her writing. She gets ideas from Spirit, God, Jesus, Carol.
Yes.
I
Yes.
pray and meditate, and it enhances your life as a writer because it clears the clutter out of your head and it enables you to get in your genius zone. So the
Totally.
other day, yeah, so I highly recommend that you have a spiritual practice, some kind of, meditative solitude, silence that will enable you to shut out the noise and get focused. Right, Joni?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. In fact, I've been on a little vacation slash book tour for the last week, and I'm in Depot Bay, Oregon. And talk about feathers. I had one appear on my doorstep when I arrived. And then the next morning when I got up, no, excuse me, not the next morning, I walk into my place where I am, and on the back porch kind of thing is another feather. It was like, it is feather haven here. It's like, oh my gosh, so many signs of God, spirit, whatever name you put on it, are around us all the time. So
All the
so happy to
time.
hear for you all the time, always,
Yes.
always.
Yes.
Yes,
So,
yes.
for those of you who aren't familiar, the feathers are a symbol from spirit that you're safe, that there's angels all around you. So, if you're thinking about something, walking down the street, worried about something, and you glance down and you see a feather just on the sidewalk, that is spirit saying you are safe. Whatever you're worried about, you're okay.
Woohoo, woohoo. I love it. I love it.
Yes,
So,
yes,
so
yes.
meanwhile, I love our topic today because
Yes.
it's about emotion, it's about humor, it's about sadness, it's about displaying all that. And I was thinking, Elizabeth, when I woke up this morning, I thought, we are all artists. As writers, we are artists. You think of like art behind me or art wherever, and or musical art, but we are artists with words. We are artists with words. And sometimes we forget that we are artists. We just think, oh, we're a writer, but speakers and writers, we are artists just as much as a famous Van Gogh or I'm trying to think of other famous artists. But anyhow, I just wanted to put that out there before we jump into our topic. So,
Yes.
Yahoo!
We are artists and we are writers. Some people write and they don't call that, they're scared to call themselves a writer. If you're writing, you're a writer. Hello? Claim that, know that, declare it. You are a writer. You're here to learn everything you need to know to write, publish, and promote a great book. That's what Joni and I are doing. I'm a publisher, author, book coach, editor. Joni is an author And now she has her own radio program. So
Yes.
the sky is the limit. Joni, just let everybody know where they can listen to your show.
Okay. KCIW.org.
Mhm.
And you go in and you can either listen live, 9 o'clock Pacific Standard Time every Monday or 12 o'clock Eastern Time, or all the podcasts are saved in there. They're on iHeart, they're on Spotify, they're on NPR. So they're all in there. And the name of the show is Joyously Free,
Yes,
named
like the
after
book.
book number two.
Yes, awesome, awesome. All
Yes,
right,
thank you.
Joni. Yeah, awesome. So here's the deal. How do you make your reader cry, laugh, relate? And it's not about manipulation, it's about writing from your authentic truth. And chances are stories that make you cry, laugh, and feel a certain way are going to elicit the same emotion in your reader. There are techniques you can use in the writing to make certain that you are luring them into the scene as if they're there and feeling all the intensity that you're feeling as you write it. There are ways to do
Mhm.
that. And yesterday on Book Talks, I interviewed here on the Two Sisters Writing and Publishing channel. I interviewed our latest author, Tara Heaton, and her book is called Life Minutes: Igniting Joy from the Fire of Heartache. And it's about how her 12-year-old daughter got a virus that resulted in epileptic seizures. And Tara's quest to find wellness for her daughter in a cure, and she went to the ends of the earth to cure her daughter, which she was unable to do. And she speaks of it so honestly in such a raw way. But this book made me, as the editor of it, because I was, getting it ready to publish, cry. It made me laugh. It made me really think about life. It made me question things. And so she did not set out like, oh, I'm going to make people cry. Oh, I'm going to make people laugh. She just told the story from her heart and soul. Joni, I think your book, None Better, does the same thing. Can you talk about how you did that?
Oh, absolutely. And I think you hit the nail on the head. And first off, congratulations to Tara. I think that's really super exciting. And what a
Mhm.
journey she's been on.
Mhm.
And I'm looking forward to reading it because I love to read books that keep me on the edge of my seat and wondering what's going to happen or, God, just the feelings and the emotions. And I've always shared with you, Elizabeth, that I am such an EQ, emotional quotient person compared to an IQ, intelligent quotient. But anyway, back to None Better. I think the raw and the vulnerability of what and how I said it was basically how I bring out the emotion. And like you said, I cried as I wrote it. I sobbed. I went through boxes of Kleenex as I wrote it. I also had boxes of Kleenex for all my joy. And it was the most fun thing to sit at the computer and type and be laughing at the same time as I'm typing. And so that was just a joy. And how did I do that? Well, I did it in several ways. One is I have a lot of dialogue in None Better. So dialogue with myself, like what I'm really thinking, as well as telling the story. And so that makes it funny because I'm sort of one of those people that use a lot of one-liners as my humor. And so like the word yucko, Yucko, I use that at different times in my, you're laughing.
I love it. I love it.
And so I have my one-liners, so I have my words that just are who I am, and they are my humorous, joyful, happy self. And I laugh at myself, which then I hope readers get to laugh at the same thing. Yes, that's a big part of it. But the dialogue, so the self-dialogue, go ahead, go for it.
So that word yucko, I remember when I was editing your book, Joni, I read a line and you said yucko and I lost it. I just cracked up. And you know what it was? It
What?
was when you were talking about being a little girl on like school playground and such, and all the girls had crushes on boys and wanted to go to the dance with a boy. And you were just thinking about the idea of going out with a boy because you knew you were gay, and you wrote yucko. And I just cracked up. It was so
Yeah,
cute because you knew
yep,
who
yep.
you were, and that was not interesting, even though that was what all your female friends were doing, your peers. So
Right,
yeah,
right.
one word can make you just crack up because she's
Exactly.
revealing her truth. She's not scared to reveal her true feelings. So
right,
that was
right.
an excellent example. And then
Good, good.
same Joni with, some of the more grueling sad scenes, like when Carol had a stroke and you were taking care of her and she fell out of the bed and her leg was hurt and all these things that made me cry.
Yes, 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 yes. And so much of that is dialogue. Again, it's the self-talk dialogue of what's really on my mind versus I'm telling the story, and then
Yeah.
dialogue with the other person, the character. So if it's not a true story, you make up a character, like in your Bis Tribe books. Oh my gosh, your characters are phenomenal. But
Thank
you
you.
bring out their dialogue and how they would say something, and it's just absolutely hilarious. I remember one of the things I wrote in the book, and one of the experiences I had with Carol's is the snow moguls, and went up to the mountains, and we're almost like courtshipping. It's like second week of being in love with each other, and here we are at these snow moguls, and I'm like, I see a family, I see an inner tube, I gotta go for this. And so I get on
Mhm.
that tube and I start down that slope, and I hit the first mogul and I fly, the second mogul I fly, and the third mogul, the inner tube went one way and I went the other way. And I remember hearing from the stands or the people up above, and then I hear this, Joanie. And then I finally walk up to the place, and where she is, and she's looking at me. She's going, I've been trying to figure out how I was going to tell your novice director I killed you, love. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And I'm going, she called me love. That was the most
Oh,
important part. So that was the emotion of her humor. And then my emotion of she just called me love. Like,
yes.
we are together forever.
Uh-huh.
You remember
Uh-huh.
that part? Do you remember that story?
I do remember that like vividly. Um,
Yes.
wow.
Yep. Yep.
That's
Yep.
really
So,
powerful, Joni. So another thing is laughing, crying, dialogue, but also eliciting like goosebumps in your reader. And so the ones you're seeing, for example, where Carol was dying and the
yes.
angels and the lights and all the
Oh, yes.
supernatural extravaganza that was happening in your house as she was going to heaven.
Yes.
That, the way you described that was so vivid and it just gave, I have chills right now remembering it. So
Wow.
the goal with that and the message to all the writers out there is to tell the truth because you weren't worried, oh, this is going to sound so weird. People are going to say I'm wacko, woo woo. No, you wrote about supernatural things happening as Carol passed, and it was real. You were
Yes.
seeing light. You were hearing
Yes.
angels. You were hearing words spoken from divine beings. And you weren't scared. Oh, I have chills again. Oh my gosh. You weren't scared to
Thank
write
you.
that. Yes,
No.
Joni, it's so powerful. And of course, you were sad that your partner of 40 years was going to heaven, but you were
Sad. I
happy.
was I was terrible. I was like, oh my gosh. It was like salty tears turning into a salty swimming pool on my pillow. It's like, and some of you can relate when something just really hits you that emotionally tough. You just gotta let it out, and mine is through tears.
Yes,
Yep.
yes,
Oh, see,
yes.
you got me going again. Whew.
Oh, but it was beautiful because she was really suffering. And so you also mixed in that emotion of relief and
Yeah.
joy that she was going to heaven where she's just going to be in pure joy, peace, love.
And that's where she is. And that's really what it is now. Even though you
Yes.
bring up those emotions from what happened, it's still so joyful. She's in a
Hmm.
happier place. I'm in a happier place.
Hmm.
And life goes on.
Hmm.
Yep, yep, yep.
I
And I
love
think
it.
part of that is telling the whole story, Elizabeth. As a
Mm.
writer, you don't just jump right into the punchline. You just
Hmm.
don't jump right into the main part, but you give a little precursor. I don't even know if that's the right word, but you set the scene for it.
Foreshadow.
Foreshadow, that's the word.
Hmm.
Wow. Would
Yeah.
you talk more about that? Because I know that's something you taught me as well, but I didn't know I was doing it, but you taught it to me.
Yes. Okay. So I was just coaching somebody yesterday that I'm working with as she's writing her amazing memoir, is that you don't want to just drop something in the middle of the book that comes as a surprise. You need to set it up from the beginning to
Yes.
establish in the reader's head, okay, this is an issue. So here's an example. If you say early on in the story that say you're writing a novel, that you don't like it when people chew with their mouth open. Okay, it really bothers you when people have bad table manners. That's a deal breaker, you cannot deal with. Okay? That's my story actually. But anyway, then say your character's dating and your character, like on, the middle of the book, they go on a date and the reader knows that this character cannot stand when people chew with their mouth open, talk with their mouth open, and just have bad manners. And so they go on this dream date, beautiful restaurant, person they're really into. They're all dressed up, so excited. And they sit down to enjoy this wonderful glass of wine, and the appetizers are served. And the person takes the food and starts to smack and chomp with their mouth open and talking with their mouth open, even if they're eating lobster. And your character and the reader knows this information because you foreshadowed it. Then the reader already knows, oh no, this is done. This is over. How are they even going to get through the whole dinner? You see what I mean?
I got it. Oh my God, that's perfect. And you're so good at doing that in all your characters and all your writing. I think that's why your book, White Chocolate, kept me on the edge of my seat because there were so many things that were foreshadowed that appeared later on. Now I
Right.
know that word,
Yep.
foreshadowed.
So it's a
Wow.
literary device that you use
Okay.
to plant early on information so that later on it doesn't come as a surprise, first of all. And secondly, it establishes the themes of what you're writing. And so when you do that, it heightens the emotion, the whole topic of this podcast today. It heightens the emotion because you already know how the characters are feeling. And so
Right.
when something happens, like it was like if you had never established, Joni, in None Better about your spiritual beliefs, how you talk to Jesus and God and your commitment and dedication to spirit and then you start and angels. And then you just have a scene where, oh, the angels are singing in my house and I'm seeing flashing lights while as my partner dies. It wouldn't have the same impact. It
I
would
get
just
it.
sound
I get
out
it.
of,
Yeah.
right? It would be
Yeah.
like out of the blue and it wouldn't be consistent or believable. But because we know you from the beginning, where starting with the scene where Jesus talked to you from a statue in the convent garden,
Right.
right?
How do you remember all this? It's like your story too. It just blows me away.
Oh, I edited it, Joni. I was
I
I
know.
was
Yeah. For
literally
months and months.
immersed. Yeah, I was
Yep.
there.
Yep, you were there. You were there. Oh my gosh. Yep, you've lived it through me, or I've lived it through you, however that goes.
Yeah,
Yep,
yeah, yeah. It's
yep.
so interesting, the books that I've ghostwritten for people. Like, I know more about them than some of the people in their lives know because they've shared
Oh,
secrets that
totally. Totally.
it's
You are. You
wild.
know more about me than probably any of my older friends or family, just because we've shared
Oh,
so much in this doing this.
uh-huh,
Absolutely.
uh-huh.
Absolutely.
I love it.
So I was thinking as you were talking about foreshadowing,
Yeah.
another thing that I think brings out emotions were the questions that I asked in None Better and in Joyously Free and in Healing Religious Hurts. When we asked questions, and I guess that has to do with my prop. So I sort of have a crazy prop here.
Okay.
Here's my prop. I have a new hat.
Ooh.
I have a new
Okay.
hat.
Describe it, please, for people who are listening,
Okay, this
Joni.
is a beanie hat with all the rainbow colors, and so we have the purples and the orange and the yellows and the greens, and it's a rainbow hat like Pride because Pride is 1 month away, and
Mhm.
so underneath the hat is my water bottle with all my
Oh.
stickers. Okay, so two
Uh-huh.
points here. One is you keep your readers going because you have surprises that happen. All
Ooh.
of a sudden, you have a surprise that happens. Okay. The next thing was I've got to put this on because it's so soft. I picked it up at a coffee shop yesterday,
Oh, it's
and
so pretty,
Sharon made it.
Joni. Who
There.
made it?
Sharon is the mother of the owner of the coffee place here in Depot Bay. And
Okay.
I actually had a spiritual guru that I met with for an hour there, which I'll tell you about later, which was phenomenal about my spirit animals. And so that was really cool.
Oh.
But meanwhile, let me get back to the questions. When I asked questions in all three of my books, they were from my heart and they elicit people to be challenged by the questions. For example, one of the main questions in None Better at the very beginning was, am I gay? Is Carol gay? How are we going to do this? What are we going to do? We're in a convent. I mean, how are we going to be intimate when we've got to be hidden and secret and private in our own bedroom, but we can't make any noise. We can't do anything else. It's like, how do we do this love affair? I mean, all these questions were what I put into the book. And what I've heard from people is those questions empowered them to think about what was it really like? It put them in the scene. It put them in the scene. And so
Uh-huh.
it helps them question their own life about questions that they have. So I
Uh-huh.
guess as a writer, be bold and put those questions out, because then
Mm-hmm.
as you go through the book, you will deliver the answers if you have the answers.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Is, am I saying that correct?
Yes, I love it. I love it, Joni. That's brilliant.
Well,
Yeah.
and you do the same darn thing in your books. I love it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, for sure. Every book has a question. Like, can the protagonist defeat the villain? And in an against the odds success memoir, like we have, like most of our books are, like yours is. I mean, you were in the convent, and it was a time when LGBTQ plus freedoms did not exist.
Right,
And so,
right.
and you were not allowed to have romance anyway as a nun. So you were super against the odds, but you did it anyway and lived to tell about it. And now share it with the world in books, on your radio show, here on the podcast, when you speak. It's amazing.
Mm-hmm,
And it all
mm-hmm,
starts with a question. How are we going to
mm-hmm.
do this?
Exactly, exactly. You know, and it sort of reminds me of, I don't know if you've ever been to the Charles Schulz Museum. He's the author and creator of Peanuts,
Hmm.
and when he created Peanuts, what are they called? Slides or
Cartoon strips. Oh,
cartoon strips.
uh-huh.
And I think that's another way that you can think about as a writer of how do you want to progress with your story, in terms of funniness, humor, jokes, what does one person say? What's the next person say? And that kind of thing down the line. And then you
Hmm.
get to the big woohoo, you know.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
excellent.
Just ideas, just ideas. What are other ideas you have for creating that emotion or that suspense?
So I really like to write love scenes. And in my books, my romantic books and my erotica, um, love scenes should not be just a tangle of limbs with titillating terms for body parts.
That cracks me up when you say that. That just cracks me up.
But it would be easy to write it that way. But the way you elicit emotion in the reader, and people have told me, couples have told me that they read my scenes together because it elicits such profound emotion, is that you have to show the connection between the two people, the emotional connection, the spiritual connection. And when you're able to describe that, which is very difficult, when you're able to describe that connection, like what's unique, like of all the people you meet,
It's
why do you?
orgasmic.
True.
Sorry. Yeah,
No,
when you
it's
do that,
true.
when you write, it's
That's
orgasmic, Elizabeth.
Yes, that's the goal. But to get to that point and to make it all the more beautiful, you have to establish why these two people are so connected
Mm,
on emotional and spiritual levels. And again, you
yes.
can't just drop that into the love scene. It has to be established all along. Like there's something when two people meet that's this energetic bond
Yeah.
that they've never felt with other people. There's something unique there. Like when Carol walked into the convent, when you first looked at, no, when you first heard her over the phone,
Heard her voice.
there was
Yes.
an energy there that you talked to so many people on the phone, but her energy and her voice resonated with your soul. And you described that. And then when you
You
saw,
just said that. Isn't that amazing? She resonated with
yes,
my soul. Oh, that's a good word there,
see?
boss. I mean, coach.
But then talking about eliciting emotion in the reader, when we read the scene of you hearing her voice and having that effect on you, and then you meet her in person, we already know something really deep has been established. So that heightens the emotional drama of the scene when you meet her. All she did
Hmm.
was walk
Hmm.
in the house and you're sitting there eating and you look up like,
Yeah. I just did a zillion backflips and twists and turns.
yes, yes. Isn't that cool?
Oh, totally.
Uh-huh. So then,
Yep.
as things evolve on the trajectory of your relationship, hanging out at the convent, doing the little adventures like the snowboarding thing, and everyone is like a culmination of that that gets, I mean, a progression of that that gets to the culmination of you becoming officially a couple.
Yes.
And so,
Yes.
yeah, so eliciting
Yeah.
emotion is about planting the seeds along the way to heighten the drama, the conflict, and to evoke that deep emotion in the reader.
Right. And you started out by talking about love. I remember one of your coaching sessions or writing sessions. I don't remember where it came from, Elizabeth, was it was a prompt. That's what it was, a prompt. And maybe right now with everybody out there listening, write and describe love. Oh my gosh, that was such a great prompt. And I remember sharing with the group on a Zoom with your
Yeah,
people. And
yeah.
it was phenomenal what everybody came up with in describing love, you know?
It's very difficult. It's easy to say, oh, it feels good or it makes me happy. No, there's physical sensations of that emotional state.
Mhm,
It
mhm,
elevates you
mhm,
to the high. It's one of the highest
mhm,
vibrational frequencies that we can have. It puts us in our
mhm.
genius zone. It gives us, releases endorphins in our bodies. Chemical changes happen in our bodies, just the same way stress releases cortisol, which is toxic in our bodies. So,
Right.
writing about that is so powerful. So, yeah, all of you today, take out a pen and pencil or your laptop or your phone or whatever. Try to describe love. Try to describe the sight, hearing, touch, taste, smell, and intuitive vibe of love. And
Yes. Yes.
it will be a challenge, I promise you. But that's what I
Yes.
love. That's why I love writing love stories because it's a challenge. It's really
Mhm,
difficult. And
mhm.
then to describe the physical sensations of it, like when somebody looks at you a certain way, no words spoken, just that look.
Eyeballs.
Yes, yes,
Yes.
and it's magic. So,
Yes.
yeah. All right, Joni,
Yes.
any final thoughts about how to elicit strong emotion in our readers?
No, but I know you also have another book coming out by Jack Cooper and talk about emotions in that book, and that's related to pride. So that's another powerful book. And I
Yes.
think almost all your authors have powerful books about emotions.
Yes,
So
absolutely. So, Pain Before the Rainbow by Jack Cooper is so good, and it is an anthology, and it's anchored by a novella called Anthony's Sin, and it's about two young men before the rainbow, meaning before pride, before all the freedoms for LGBTQ plus people, before same-sex marriage was legalized. It was a horrible time for gay men, many of whom took their own lives because the world was so unaccepting and actually hateful toward gay people, religion, family, society. And so he wrote this beautiful story, and it's sad, but the emotion that he elicits is so powerful in his storytelling about the inner conflict, the outer conflict of these young men dealing with their love and their passion, which is so beautiful and pure and natural, and then having to deal with the world being so condemning of them. Highly recommend. You can get the book at twosisterswriting.com in the bookstore, Pain Before the Rainbow by Jack Cooper. You can also get this book, Life Minutes by Tara Heaton, in the bookstore at twosisterswriting.com, and also Nun Better, and also Joyously Free and Healing Really Just Hurts, and other
and the
books.
Bist tribes.
Yes, and my Goddess Power books, which are called the Bis Tribe, where you activate your goddess power. And then the book on pleasure is out. And then the next book is about prosperity coming this summer. So,
Ooh, ooh.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Right. Super, super.
Yeah,
Good deal.
awesome.
Good.
So,
Thank you for a great podcast today. It's been fun to talk about these topics related to writing. I just
yes.
loved it. So I hope everybody hope you got a few golden nuggets. And like Elizabeth said, try the writing prompt right now of
Hmm.
describing love.
Yes, thank you, Joni. Thank you so much. This was a great topic. It was your idea, and I appreciate you immensely. I hope your exciting travels continue to go well, starting in Depot Bay, Oregon. And all of you writers out there, I'm Elizabeth Ann Atkins, Two Sisters Writing and Publishing with Joanie Lindenmeyer, our superstar author. We go live every Friday at noon Eastern Time to talk about everything you need to know to write, publish, and promote a great book. So please, we wish you happy reading, happy writing, and please visit twosisterswriting.com. I'd love to help you write your book as your book coach. So, all the best, happy writing, and happy reading.
You betcha.